Welcome back, everyone, to another technical analysis. And today we are taking a look at Chainlink coin. Now, since last time, where we said that we are waiting for this sell entry one the most, giving you like a four possible entries for the trade, we had ever since dropped. Let's take a look, like 27% of market price movement. And from our entry point, we have achieved like 15% of a drop. Now, although we didn't touch our major zone here, we can still consider it as being hit into the target zone. And now we are looking into completely different scenario happening on the Chainlink coin now, moving away. Actually, let's leave this first entry spot here and moving these things away from here. Now, what we are expecting is, of course, a slight upward movement similar to this movement here. So let me just adjust the chart here. Now, last time we had a similar movement was after touching this 200 EMA line. So 200 EMA line has been respected for quite some time on the Chainlink coin. And what we are expecting to see is another touch to this zone. Now, ideally, we need to see a movement here and then, of course, a reversal to lower zones. So, like this. And we are basing our analysis purely on the previous times we hit near this 200 EMA, similarly to this one, where we formed a favorable gap zone, which is here as well. Not the favorable gap zone, but CME gap. And similar to this one, now we expect to see a fill of this zone, which would give us, let's take a quick peek, like 12 to 20% of market price movement. Of course, this 200 EMA will go lower and lower and lower. Now, going even smaller time frames and zooming more in, we are seeing that this bloody markets we had on Monday, so yesterday, price has been recovering pretty nicely so far. And now we are approaching this CMA gap here, which has been feel like, let's say, 30% of it, which resulted as 17% of movement. Now, what's more interesting for us is this 4 hour time frames Bollinger Bands, which is expanded way too much. And now what we want to see is a breakout from this middle line of Bollinger Bands, which would give us additional movement to the higher zones. So as high as this upper side of the Bollinger Bands, which is aligned with 100 EMA. So there is nothing much more to talk. The game plan's been always the same. We want to trade in between all of those zones that we have displayed here. So right now we touched basically this zone. Okay, we won't call it a touch because we didn't touch it exactly, but still, if we broader the zone here, we see that we still touch few zones and we had a nice touch or a liquidity grab here. So as of now, we'll wait for a breakout from here, which would result in a movement and give us like a possible entry for a long position with a risk and reward ratio being, let's take a peek, like 1 to 2. But I will be honest, I would narrow down the stop loss zone much more because currently we are way too volatile into the markets. So we might see some quick movements to lower zones once again, just purely because some negative news on the market. So never know what's going to happen. Yesterday we had also some fake news on the markets, thanks to what we had a pump and dump and pump and dump. So this dump and this pump. So there is nothing much more to talk about on the Chainlink coin, trying to keep it very quick and simple. We wait for the breakout. As soon as we see a breakout from this zone, we're going to enter into the long position. But if we don't see, then of course this would be our next target zone if we form a market structure break on the smaller time frames. And the market structure break being, of course, this zone here. So if sellers manage to retake control over this zone, then we are going to enter most likely into the downward movement and the sell orders can be opened. So that's it for the Chainlink coin. As always, thank you for watching and see you on the next video.